Burning Rubber is social. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And it's time for another Burning Rubber Gas and Go for this week as we head into Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, baby.
And it's producer Wayne alongside Andy DeLay this week here. The NASCAR chef John Dix, folks. He is overcooked himself, so he is on a much-needed break for this weekend.
He'll be back next week.
Well, we hope he'll be back next week. He's been doing a lot of cooking lately, and needless to say, a break is well-deserved for the NASCAR chef. But coming up here in just a couple of minutes, we are going to be speaking with the motorsports enthusiast, John DeLay.
Yes, I love this stuff from the motorsports enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
And also, folks, a big shout out to Seriously Fast Motorsports, who we're partnered up with. And of course, the truck race this weekend, you'll be getting my article on what happened with the truck. So make sure you keep an eye out on SFM's site. Of course, we post that up here on Burning Rubber Radio socials too. So Wayne, what do we got this week for our whole racing weekend?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, the racing weekend, not a whole lot as far as like prep goes into the weekend, but some interestingly breaking news that has come out of Brownsburg, Indiana, Andy, and this is as of March 13th. So yesterday, Thursday, for folks who are listening to us a little bit later on video on demand or audio on demand on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or anywhere you can get a hold of these podcasts at, Robert Hight from John Force Racing, Andy, has officially confirmed that he is stepping down as president of the organization, confident that the company is in capable hands moving forward.
With who?
So that's the thing. They teased this opener pretty heavy, and Hight was quoted as saying, "I had 30 great years at JFR, but being out of the car last year made me realize that there are other things I want to do, especially with my wife and my family, and John opened so many doors for me. I'm just glad I was there to help him and the company through everything that happened last year." Hight, at 55 years old, began his career as a crew member on Force's championship-winning funny car back in 1995. Now, that tells you he's been around a hot minute.
Right.
But, looking at the way the article is written up here, I am actually not seeing where they have actually named. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Never mind. With Robert leaving, Bob McAleer will be my go-to guy, and this coming directly from John Force, referring to JFR's Brownsburg-based director of business operations. Force was further quoted as saying he already works closely with our partners, and now he'll be working with me a lot more and with the Brain Trust to keep the machine firing on all cylinders.
Okay, well, that answers that question. So, John Force Racing still motoring along, but without Hight.
Yep, still motoring along. But hey, you know what? At 55 years old, and don't get me wrong, I mean, God knows John's like the same age as my dad. My dad would have been. So I mean, at this point this year, he would have been pushing 75, I think. So Hight is 20 years John's junior. So at that point, he's noticing that, hey, it's time to retire. He's done everything he wanted to do. Now it's time to go be the family man and, live out the rest of his natural life, just, having fun in other forms of things.
Yep, that's good. So best of luck.
But granted, of course, we all know when it comes to John, too, and we talk about this every time we bring up John Force, John is so high octane, and we noticed this during COVID, too. When you try to simmer that octane level of John Force, he's not in a good mood.
Yeah, no doubt.
We
got a lot of NASCAR stuff to talk about real quick, I do believe.
Well, we got one more thing here too, real quick to mention before we get into the world of NASCAR for the weekend, and that being that Takuma Sato has officially made his announcement for the Indianapolis 500, and he will be returning to Rahal Letterman Lanigan for the Indianapolis 500 this year in 2025. So that is Big news,
Yeah.
Takuma Sato, former Indy 500 winner. And if I remember right, when he won his Indy 500 a couple of years ago, he did it with RLL. So that is some pretty good stuff to see him going back to Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan. Which, by the way, folks, if you don't recognize that middle one there, Letterman, that is actually former overnight host David Letterman, who has a part in that team.
Oh, good. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see where different people in the world of media or entertainment or just in general have ties to things with motorsports. And David Letterman obviously being one of them. I've heard rumors that Conan O'Brien has some dealings with some people. God, personally, I think Conan's funnier than David, but that's just me. Either which way, though. Moving on now into the world of NASCAR. And Andy, you're going to like this one because I know you're an AJ Allmendinger fan. This past week, he was officially inducted into the West Coast Motorsports Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yeah, AJ. Well, come on, be honest, man. You were an AJ fan last year when our Jeremy Taylor, who's now with Hendrick Motorsports.
Well, even before then.
Huh?
I mean, even before then, I was an AJ Allmendinger fan.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say, but so we really followed AJ closely, knowing that Jeremy Taylor had his hands on AJ's car. But now
that
for
sounds
all
so
of you,
wrong.
well, keep your mind out of the gutter, man. But now that you guys and everyone need to know that Jeremy Taylor is working with Hendrick Motorsports and is in, how should I say this? He is part of the crew that prepares all of the Cup Series cars every week. So really proud of Jeremy and JT. Good job out at Hendrick. And now folks are trying to say this weekend, hearing a lot of folks yelling Kyle Larson is going to be the winner this weekend to stop Christopher Bell. So hopefully, JT, you go out there and get him, boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, that'll be interesting to see if Kyle Larson or somebody else can dethrone Christopher Bell's chance at 4 in a row. And I remember John sent us a graphic in our group text message earlier this week, Andy, where you look at the elites that are up there on that list. You've got Darrell Waltrip, you've got Dale Earnhardt, you've got Jeff Gordon, you've got Bill Elliott, Austin Bill from Dawsonville. You've got Cale Yarborough. Could it be and Jimmy Johnson even for that matter, could it be possible that Christopher Bell joined that list of elites this weekend at Vegas?
I don't know. Whatever they're doing to cook that car up before the race, they got it down.
They're doing something. They're doing something. So
when the coach Gibbs was asked what is going on with Christopher Bell to go from pretty much nothing to winning 3 races in a row, you know what his answer was? Good question.
Yeah, exactly. That I was thinking the same thing. It's like, good question. What is fueling Mr. Bell?
Whatever's happening after hours to the vehicle before it's shipped, like they did in the old days at the shop, who knows? But hell, that's almost impossible now.
It really is
the way things are. But
it's more. I don't know. Honestly, it's more so nowadays with that car being pretty much even across the board. It's all about driver talent, and Seabell, obviously we followed him since he was a kid, but Seabell has a lot of talent when it comes to the NASCAR Cup Series. So, seeing what he can do in that car when he's wheeling that thing, absolutely fantastic stuff.
Oh, it's good stuff. I'm not taking anything away from him. Bell's definitely on fire right now. So kudos.
That he is. And speaking of being on fire here and moving back over into the world of NASCAR, Andy, we got to talk about other things that are on fire, including some hamburgers and hot dogs and a certain restaurant race coming up here later this year. Or actually, excuse me, not later this year. Actually, just in a couple of weeks' time here over
later
at Martin.
This year.
Well, yeah, a couple weeks' time later this year. Yeah. Whatever. Either way.
Whatever. Right.
But officially noting something very cool here, and that being that one Casey Mears is set to jump back behind the wheel of a NASCAR Cup car at Martinsville Speedway, actually coming up here in just 2 short weeks at Martinsville Speedway March the 30th when he takes to the track in the Cookout 400 at Martinsville Speedway. He'll be in the number 66 Hitch Go Ford Mustang Dark Horse for Garage 66, which is co-owned by Carl Long.
Yeah, Carl Long's team. And our Bobby Dale does a lot of driving for Carl, excuse me, in the Xfinity series. So,
and speaking of from one Carl to another, Andy, and this is something really cool that I saw noted the other day. I don't know if you saw this or not. Cousin Carl himself, Carl Edwards, is going to be joining the Prime Video broadcast team for NASCAR this season.
and that is a huge deal. From what I was informed, that Prime went out to his house because he said, no, I do not want to do this. They went out and knocked on his front door and said, Carl, this is why you need to do this. Now, one thing I understand is Carl doesn't have any interest in jumping back in the car yet, anyway. But he is an excellent race commentator. I've heard him do this before. And I think he has a career there. The fans love him. Yeah, they always have. And I don't know why Carl doesn't want to do that, but he has his reasons. But hopefully things will be successful here with the Prime team. He'll be in the booth with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And a couple others, so it should be really fun.
It'll be pretty interesting to see what happens there. And if I'm not mistaken, with Junior going to Prime Video to do that part there, I haven't heard if he's going back to NBC for 2025. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But it's gonna really show the quality of broadcast caliber when you have the likes of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Carl Edwards side by side in a broadcast booth.
Man, it's gonna be great. Now, if everyone can get past the fact that it's going to be on Prime Video, here are a lot of naysayers saying they don't want it being on subscription service TV. Well, guess what, folks? Whether you like it or you don't like it, that's the future of where things are going. Broadcast television.
It really is
going down the toilet, man. That's the way it is.
It really is. I mean, the world is moving to a more digitally based broadcast platform, and and not just NASCAR. The NFL has done it with games that they put on Prime Video or playoff games that they had on Netflix last season.
Correct.
WWE has moved their Monday Night Raw product over to Netflix, whereas SmackDown is now on the USA Network, where they used to be on Fox for a couple of years. But I guarantee you, when Netflix is ready to drop the hammer, they're gonna put something like SmackDown on Netflix. And
there's no doubt that it's coming, Wayne. I mean, just look at our platform, our show. We've been around for 17 years going or more. Started out on purely terrestrial radio. Now we are not on terrestrial radio anywhere anymore by choice. And we are digital platform only. But what I'm saying is that we're nothing special. All of media is doing this.
Exactly, yeah, and NASCAR following suit, with the Prime Video stuff. And from what I could gather, now I could be, like I said, I could be wrong. So this is always, going to be up to, when we actually get to that point where we see it on Prime Video. But if I'm not mistaken, things like qualifying and whatnot are going to be free offerings that you're going to see on Prime Video, whereas the only thing that will come at cost as part of a subscription platform with Amazon is going to be the actual race itself.
Okay.
And so, I mean, at least Amazon is saying, hey, look, we're going to give you some of this at no cost, but the stuff that is going to cost the most money from a production value standpoint is where you're going to have to put into it. Because, I mean, again, like case in point, from a digital perspective, everybody knows, Andy, and you know this as well as I do, when Netflix first started, they were $5.99 a month?
Yeah, right.
And, you paid that $5.99 a month, and that gave you access to just DVDs at the time. And you were limited to, I think, 3 DVDs at a time. And then they went to $9.99, and then they added in the streaming and the commercial-free stuff and everything like that. And then they went up to their current or their last tier that they were at, which was $14.99, and they gave you the option to, add in say more than one household to your Netflix account for a little extra cost every month. And then now it's at the point, because of these high profile, companies and programs that are jumping on board, you're paying $25 a month now for Netflix, but you have access to things like Monday Night Raw on demand whenever you want it. Because and I use this comparison again to NASCAR and everything like that, because like case in point, WWE Network back in the day, and even on Peacock, if you wanted to go back and watch Monday Night Raw, like say you missed the last episode, you didn't get a chance to DVR it, you would have to wait 4 months before you could go back and watch that one episode that you missed from the current year. So by that point in time, storylines are already outdated. Matches are most likely WrestleMania's already happened.
We're getting long-winded with this,
but the point that I'm making is now where we are saying we are in an on-demand culture. We are actually in an on-demand culture where you can watch what you want, when you want, how you want.
That's right. That's why you can get Burning Rubber Radio same way, baby.
Exactly. And but moving on here, the last bit of news that we can touch on here for the week before we get over to the motorsports enthusiast, John Dangerous. And Andy, you mentioned Kyle Larson earlier, and there was something I've seen brought up here just a little bit ago here, is that Kyle Larson not only is going to try to do the double as far as Indy and Charlotte again this year, he's also going to try and get himself a broom at Bristol this year.
Okay, but he's going to try all 3 races, or just the Xfinity Series?
No, he is going to try all 3 races at Bristol in the Food City 500 weekend coming up April 11th through the 13th, and see if he can match the other Kyle Busch, in taking home the clean sweep in the spring race.
Good luck, because I guarantee you that Kyle's going to run that race too.
Oh yeah,
in the trucks.
Mm-hmm. And but yeah, Larson has entered in all 3 of NASCAR's major races during the Bristol weekend as the California driver seeks to claim the highly elusive clean sweep, aka the broom.
The broom.
And
good luck with Kyle out there. And now, the other Kyle.
Right, Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. But only Kyle Busch has achieved that quest in NASCAR's history. First in 2010 and then again in 2017, both at Bristol Motor Speedway. And NASCAR legend Darrell Waltrip, a 12-time winner at Bristol Motor Speedway, says that the accomplishment is one of the greatest things he's ever seen as a NASCAR driver do.
I agree. That's just a big deal. Mm-hmm. What I'd love to see is Kyle Larson win sweep Bristol, go out there, win the Indy 500, and come back and kick everyone's ass at the 600. That would be great. Well, that's not the 600 this year. It's at Wilkesboro.
No, the Coca-Cola 600 is still at Charlotte.
I understand that, but someone is saying that, you know what, we need to look this up, that the weekend includes North Wilkesboro with the Indy 500 this year.
Oh, yeah, that is right. Yeah, the All-Star weekend is actually Indy 500 weekend this year. So technically he's not going to be doing the double. He's only going to be doing the single.
Yeah, well, that's why they were talking about Carl Edwards getting out and setting up Larson's car at North
shaking Wilkesboro. It down, yep.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's the case, folks, we'll double check the schedule and we'll get back to everybody on that. But if that is the case where Indy 500 weekend falls adjacent to Coke 600 weekend, don't get me wrong, yes, it gives folks who are actually wanting to try and run the double, like Kyle Larson, a better opportunity to do that. But it takes away the spectacle of trying to do the double in one day.
I agree. I agree. But still, it'll be fun to watch.
It will. It'll definitely be fun to see what can be done there. But with that said, Andy, we got to get ourselves over to somebody very important here.
Yeah, we got to talk to the big John DeRugius. Did I say that right?
You said DeRugius.
Brother, no offense. I can't get anybody's name right.
Oh, my God. John, when you're listening to this, please do me a favor and just smack Andy for me.
Yeah, ho, ho, ho.
Oh, my God. But yeah, motorsports enthusiast John DeRugeris, it's time for picks.
Welcome to episode number 5 of The Final Lap with me, John the Motorsport Enthusiast. And today, I'm giving you my picks. I got my numbers down. I got my picks on here for this weekend's race for the NASCAR Cup Series at Las Vegas. Last week, I picked Kyle Larson to win, Ryan Blaney to get a top 3, and Carson Hocevar to get a top 10. None of that happened. Blaney blew up, Hocevar wrecked, but Larson did finish in 3rd. And looking at my picks over the first 4 races, Zane Smith at Daytona finished 36th. Ross Chastain at Atlanta finished 8th. In 9th position at COTA was Alex Bowman. And finishing 3rd last week was Larson, so trending in somewhat the right direction. So let's talk about Las Vegas and who I expect to win this weekend. Looking at the spring race in Las Vegas, it's been dominated the last 4 years by Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Larson winning in 21, Alex Bowman winning in 22, Byron winning in 23, and then Larson winning again in 2024. And I think they're going to go 5 in a row here with this specific driver. So the driver I'm picking has won at Atlanta before. He has 3 top 5s and 3 top 10s in the last 6 races. In 2024, his average speed ranking at mile and a half was 11.2, which puts him at 10th fastest overall. He's also one of the drivers that I've noticed that has been creeping towards P1 in the speed ranking from mile and a half in 2024, so that trend is going in the right direction. And over the last 3 races at Las Vegas in the spring, he has an average speed ranking of 5th, so he's top 5 on speed, so it's not a matter of if the car's fast enough. I'm also taking in consideration 2 different trends, which has influenced my pick. So the last 2 times any driver has won 3 races in a row, my pick has won the following race. So far this season, Christopher Bell has won 3 in a row. The second trend is who's won here and the past in Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Larson in 2021, Alex Bowman 22, William Byron 23, Kyle Larson 24. I think that trend's going to continue with the 48. My pick this weekend is Mr. Alex Bowman to get the win. Now, I expect 3 out of the 4 Hendrick cars to perform well here. Chase, I'm kind of fading a little bit. Christopher Bell, I'm extremely fading because his Las Vegas speed in the spring has not been anywhere near his speed in the fall. So I'm going to fade Christopher Bell, but Alex Bowman is my pick. At the time of recording, he's currently a plus 2,500. So that means if you bet $10, you win $250. And like always, don't bet the house, don't bet the 401k, don't put the kids' college tuition on Mr. Alex Bowman to get it done. Don't bet more than what you are willing to lose. And let's go get a victory. I'm so close. I've been so close. I'm only going to give 1 pick this week, and that's going to be Alex Bowman. Let's get it done.
All right. So, motorsports enthusiast John DeRugeris. One thing I like about the way he puts his piece every weekend, it's like don't bet the house, don't bet the car. Bet smart if you're going to do any of those picks that John has submitted over on DraftKings or wherever you do your picks at. But be smart about it.
Yeah, be smart. Yep, that's right. Be very smart.
Yep, be very, very smart indeed. But with that said here, folks, we're going to get out of here for another week of the Gas and Go. And do follow us if you can on socials. Facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio, Twitter or X.com and Instagram.com. I noticed our social media guy, Zach, has updated our Instagram as well. So Twitter or X.com and Instagram.com/BR Radio _ follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Search for Burning Rubber Radio on rumble.com as well. And with that said, it's been another week. It's been fun. It's been real. And it's been real fun. For Andy DeLay, for the NASCAR chef John Dix, Zachary Murtis, I am producer Wayne. Guys, we love you, and we will see you next week.